I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey everybody, welcome to the show tonight. I am your host, Dano Hamilton. You guys, I have got a great guest for you tonight. I got Dan all the way from Tasmania. Now, if y'all don't know where Tasmania is, find one of the 7 continents known as Australia and kind of look, I believe it's to the maybe southeast of the continent, and you're going to find Tasmania. Now, what makes this also super cool is that Dan had an encounter with the Glimmer Man. Now, the only Glimmer Man I knew about, you guys, was that movie with Steven Seagal. You know, that amazing action hero of an actor, Steven Seagal. Insert sarcasm. But hey, you guys, I just want to let you guys know that I heard his story. He kind of told me, I did some research on it, and the Glimmer Man is a real thing. So without further ado, let's bring on the show all the way from Tasmania, our bro, Dan. Dan, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you going?
I'm doing good, doing good. So you are in Tasmania. It's what, about 10:30 there in the morning.
10:30 in the morning, yeah. Yeah, tomorrow,
yeah. It's the 10th. This is wild. That's one part of the world that I've always wanted to get an interview from. Especially cool. With the Yowie, and never in a million years would I be thinking I'm talking to somebody from Tasmania. Never.
Yeah, well, here I am.
Yeah.
And we share a name.
It's one of the greatest names ever, man. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and just put the camera on you. Let's just get into your story. Like, let's hear how it started, where you're at, what time it started, what year, all that type of stuff. All right.
Okay. So I don't know what the year is off the top of my head. I'm 46 now. That story happened when I was 16 years old. It was the Christmas holidays, and I was hanging out with some of my friends down at a little town called Badger Head. It wasn't really a town then. It was 4 houses, 4 residents, and a single street lamp in that space. Just a little seaside village, for want of a better word. And we'd spent the daylight hours splitting wood and cutting wood and preparing firewood for which we often do in the summer, so it's got a chance to dry. And we were all hanging out. It was about 6 of us, I think. I'm going to preserve my friends' names because I'm the one who volunteered to be part of this. But yeah, they still remember the story. I've seen them. Those guys all moved to Hobart eventually, or Melbourne, as Tasmanian folk tend to do. But I stayed back. I stayed back and raised a family. But we'd mishandled our axe. We'd broken the handle off the axe. And then it was nighttime, and we were being teenagers and decided we needed a fire, even though it was summer. We were going to light a fire anyway. I don't think we had a combustion stove or anything like that. No, it's just a fire, and we'd broken the axe anyway, and we were outside. It had turned the full size axe into a short hatchet, and where one of these large limbs had been chopped off, a low-hanging limb on this large pine tree out the front, it had left like a perfect like an archery target style thing, and so we were throwing this short axe at this disc on the tree. And you're getting it to stick with great celebration. And so you would walk you'd walk over to retrieve the axe after you throw, and come back. And we must have been out there. So the sun was setting. It must have been kind of late because we have daylight savings here. It would have been like maybe 10 o'clock or something. And so we're throwing this axe, and on one of my, like I had a funny, the heckles on the back of your neck stand up when you feel threatened. So I've experienced that. I feel like I'm being watched. It was boisterous and it was loud, and there was lots of other teenage boys doing dumb stuff. But the heckles on the back of my neck stand up, and I go, oh, that's weird. Why do I suddenly feel so vulnerable? So I cautiously go and retrieve the axe. It's my turn to throw. So we're all taking it in turns. And as I walk closer, I close the distance between me and the said streetlight, that single streetlight in the in that little village, and I'm looking over, instinctively reaching out to grab the handle of the axe, because I've done it heaps of times. I know just where it is. I reach out and I grab the axe. I'm not really looking at the axe anymore. Now I'm just looking past the tree to where this street light is, and I see what looks like the best example I can think of is when you've got really great quality bubble mix, the stuff with that's actually got glycerin in it, and the bubble holds together for a really, really long time in the air without bursting. And that's what I see first. That it's an orb standing at like about 7 feet, 7 feet at the top of the orb, roughly. Well, like between 6'5" and 7 feet. It was kind of hard to tell over that distance, but very tall, like much taller than me. And this orb that looked like just before a soap bubble decays so much it's about to burst. So it's only just like, it's almost imperceptible, but you can still make it out because it's spheroid. So the shape's there, and then after I'm looking at it for a minute, and then I see this shape, the heckles on the back of my neck, they're really prickling now. And that's when I realized that as I go down from the orb is in fact the top of a head, and there's this body there, and it's all made. It all looks like this soap bubble material. The whole thing is it's only illuminated because it's under the light. If it was in the darkness, it probably wouldn't be. I probably wouldn't have seen it at all. The camouflage was impeccable. But the more I looked, the more I realized there was a tall, well-built figure standing there, without any crazy extremities like ears and noses and things like that. Almost completely motionless, but I could make out the swell of its musculature on the arms and the legs and the feet. And before long, I could see the whole thing very clearly, and that's when the panic set in, because you don't see a phantom every day. So I just in a panic, I say, we need to hide, and I urge my mates and I gather them all together, and they instantly responded. Like, I'm not a guy who gets afraid very often, so if whenever I did get scared of something, people kind of pay attention, because I'm always kind of easygoing. But when I start to freak, they all joined me, and we sort of jumped behind a bank of pine needles and sort of lay prone on our bellies, and we're sort of peering up over this bank of pine needles. And one by one, I was able to really easily indicate to everyone what I'd seen, except for this one one guy who was barely even crouched on the ground. He was sort of like sitting up straight, because I didn't know what this thing was at all. And we'd all seen that Predator movie recently, hence the frightened response. Because for all I knew, I was about to get blasted with a laser or something. So this is why we're hiding behind this bank of pine needles. It didn't have the, if I was going to compare it to the graphic of the Predator in the Predator movies, it was clearly a much more sophisticated version of that. It was impeccable, yeah, the way it's depicted in the Predator movies, I'd say like at least 200 years of scientific research went into making this camouflage that much better. But it was useless under the light. So anyway, one by one, I've got five of my friends swearing to themselves, also terrified because they've seen this thing as well. But this one last guy, he's like, wow, I don't see anything. What are you talking about? It seemed like no matter how much I explained it to him and pointed right where it was under the one and only streetlight in this town, and I just couldn't seem to point it out to him. I'm frustrated now. Like fear gives way to frustration, and I say, right effing there. Like I say, it's right effing there, and I'm pointing and gesturing with my finger. And I don't know why it reacted this way. I can't really speak to its motivations, but I think because it had been watching us throw axes all afternoon, when I made the sudden gesture with my hand, it sort of balked, and when it balked, the light shone off it all different. And that's when, like, because as it stood completely still and just observed us, I was like, oh, maybe this is pareidolia. Maybe I'm going crazy. Like, maybe I had too much sun today. I'm trying to make excuses, and I'm trying to justify. I'm trying to come to terms with this crazy thing that I've seen that doesn't make any sense and doesn't fit in with my worldview. I think I've gone bonkers, and all of my friends are just like, I don't know why they're seeing it too. Like, so it's kind of a heightened situation. But I do the balking thing. I go like this. It does the balking thing, and when it does it, I can see it really clearly. The light's shining off it in all crazy different ways now as the camouflage adjusts to the new light conditions. It sort of rolls its shoulder forward and moves its leg, and this rock, like we found the rock after. It was like a cube about 1.5 inches cube stone, flies towards us from the direction of this creature across the ground, just like skittering across the ground, and it comes to rest in front of us. We all shriek, run inside. Even the guy who couldn't see what was going on ran inside as well. For some reason he just didn't seem to be able to see the creature. I don't know why. So we all run inside and hide inside for the rest of the night, and we're all like peering out the window and stuff. We're looking outside to see if we're being watched, to see if it's still observing us, to see if we're still in danger. I don't know why it didn't occur to us to call the authorities or at the very least our friend's parents who owned that house. But we just sort of hid inside, and we're like stealing looks out of the window, and we did see them more around the building, ongoing. And for the rest of that night, there were a few more visitations. So there was one that was really, really big and really broad and really strong looking, like very athletic build, and there was another that was much smaller and more our size, and it was running along a paling fence, like along the upright palings. It was like balancing against on the top of this paling fence, just walking along it like a cat would, like absolutely no problems whatsoever, balancing on the edge of this fence, and just peering and leaning around the window and just looking and looking in, doing all this creepy stuff. And the more we spotted them, they are actually visible in the dark. Probably easier in the not complete darkness, but like they're the body form, like the big broad areas of the body, like the head sort of acts like a lens. And so if there's darkness behind them, but there's any transition in the light at all, like there is in the sky of a nighttime, the light levels transition from one part of the sky to another as it's darker in one area and lighter in another, as like proximity to the moon or whatever. That transition would get amplified inside the body. It acts like a lens, and so you end up with these really deep dark spots in the voluminous area of the head and in the thorax, and then it, like, all of that light tapers out until it was brighter on the edges. It was the strangest thing. And then but with normal light, it was like almost completely invisible, save for the edges where light seemed to bounce off the sides like a soap film. The story doesn't quite finish there, so we spend the rest of the night like freaking out, hearts hammering in our chests, and just trying to avoid whatever the hell this thing wants from us, or these things want from us. And we wait until sun up, and then sun up comes, and curiosity takes center stage. We've and fear less so. It seems we're more confident in the morning light, and we go out there to investigate the site where we saw the thing. So the street light is sitting on on the edge of a coarse gravel road, great big stones, much like the one I spoke about being dislodged before. Very coarse chunks of quartz, just pressed into soft not a soft substrate, like a gravelly substrate. I think they call it road base, and they periodically grade it and roll it out and flatten it out to make the gravel road viable. And we go over. We find the stone. We find the little cubed stone. It still has a dark stain halfway down the cube of the stone. So we're able to pick that piece up, walk over to where the streetlight is, and find where the stone was seated, like all the way into the ground. And it fits perfectly. We put it back in there. It fits perfectly in there like a puzzle piece. It drops back in there. And then there's other stones that are similar, pressed into the gravel around it. We, with our shoes on, we're trying to replicate kicking this stone out of the ground and having it fly out with lateral pressure. So we're like kicking at it, and we eventually managed to wiggle one loose, but not with one kick. So I think this creature probably stubbed his toe. He probably hurt himself quite a bit because nearby that there's a much softer sand. So it's right next to the beach. So there's like sandy soil at the edges of the road where all the plant life starts to grow, and like right under the light is the very, like, around the base of the pole is the softest sand of all. So that transitions into the coarse graded gravel road, and we go over to the soft part of the sand, this sandy stuff right at the base where there's leaf litter and sand, and we find these footprints, these long footprints. I'm not sure what size they would be. And when we first looked at them, we thought that they might be kangaroo footprints, because they resembled them a lot, with the like three pads, and the pointy little scratch marks from claws on the end. There's like a little dot at the end of the toe pad, where the claw goes in, and so we see that, and it's like there's a few around there. So there's a few little footprints around. They're not little, they're big, they're huge, great footprints. I put my own foot. I'm a size, I think I was size 11 and a half then, and it was like half the size bigger than my, like half a length of my foot bigger again, with a heel depression in it, and heel depression, and the palm, the toe pad. The toe pads were there, like it was massive, and it was heaps broader than it was like the same width as my foot, very large foot, like in proportion with the size of the transparent figure I saw the night before. And that sent chills up our spines. Well, it sent chills up my spine, knowing that this thing was probably not human. It wasn't wearing footwear, and it had enough mechanical power in its feet to be able to knock that. It was a very powerfully built creature, and we were possibly in quite a lot of danger. I don't know why it didn't attack us, or what it wanted from us. I think about it a lot, but over the years after, I sometimes see them again. I see them when I'm driving my car, just because I know how to see them. You zero in on the dome of the head first, and then the rest of the body just falls into place, and you can see it. But it's the subtleties. Yeah. In the recent years, I haven't seen them very much. And I think it's because my eyes are not quite what they used to be. They're definitely a very it's a very subtle thing, and not an easy thing to spot. But once you work out how, you can see them when they're there. I'm sure I've missed some before, but I can always I have the advantage of feeling like I'm being watched. I feel like I'm being watched, and the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and then I look for them, and when I do that, they're often there. Sometimes just peering around a corner, sometimes just walking along the side of the road, sometimes not interested in me at all. I just happen to walk along and find one. But that one under the streetlight was it was observing us, and it stood there for, I don't know, quite a while, watching us while we were prone on that pine needle bank. Maybe 5 minutes or something. Yeah. So that's my story.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I got quite a few questions. I really do, because it's kind of like some of the videos that I've seen, and I wish I knew how to get permission to use some of the video clips that I've seen on YouTube. There's one where a lady is like taking a group of people through her property, through like the woods, and you see one clearly like literally jump out of a tree, land on the ground, look at the group, and then take off. You don't see any eyes.
Goodness.
You just see the whole shimmer. You see it not fall. It jumps out of a tree, turns and looks at the group of people, then turns and runs off down the path. It's amazing. It is. I get goosebumps talking about it. But again, go ahead.
They remind me of Spider-Man. If you put cloaking technology on Spider-Man, it's like a completely smooth form. So it has something over the top of it. Yeah.
So let's get into some of these questions that I wrote down. So when you first noticed it, about how long do you think it was standing there before you noticed it?
Well, I'm going by the feeling of that stress response.
Mhm.
The feeling was like I just suddenly, I don't know how long it was standing there, or how long it was between the time it was standing there and how long I got that I could feel something looking at me. Maybe it was just when it was looking right at me, but it could have been there for a while. And I certainly didn't see it walk into the lamppost. Um, I think it could have been there for as long as it was twilight, and so I think it would have been near invisible before that
Mhm.
streetlight came on. And I don't know if it knew that. I can't know that, but yeah, I don't think in broad daylight. I don't think I would have noticed it walk right under that spot and just stand there. Could have been standing there for ages. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a difficult thing to spot. If you weren't looking for it, I'm sure you could have one following you around all day, and not
Yeah.
even know it was there.
Um, at any time after you and your friends, or say your mates, noticed it, did it ever appear to, like, approach you, maybe take a couple steps towards you or make itself more present?
No, it just sat completely still, like it was well, like it was playing possum, just pretending it didn't exist. So that so I think to probably secure its identity. Again, I'm speculating. I have no idea what this thing wanted, but it stood completely still and just let the camouflage do its work. Because when it did move, when it felt compelled to move, it did give itself away.
Mhm.
Yeah, so much so that we all just, if no one had to be told where it was, everyone just got up and ran inside without saying a word. So that was the other thing that really proved to me that that's what I'd seen. I'm still in sort of, even all this time later. There's knowing that other people see these things has taken the edge off the disbelief, because for the longest time, without the internet, without any other accounts by anyone else, or video evidence, um, I had no way of knowing I didn't just imagine the whole thing, except for my mates and their reaction to it as well. They all reacted to it too at the same
So,
time.
if we go back, you're 46,
Yeah,
so that you were born in 79,
78. Yeah, yeah, I was born
78, okay, and you how old were you about that,
I
do
was
you figure?
16.
You were 16, so you're looking
Would have
at,
been 90 something,
like,
90.
mid-80s, maybe early 90, around
Yeah,
there
yeah, early. I
possibly.
think it was mid 90s, when, because I would have been in high school. I think it was 94.
Yeah,
Would have been 94. Mm.
yeah, I was in the military.
You were in the
94.
military then?
Yeah, 94, yeah, um, so when this thing okay, did you think that it had the rock in its hand, or did you see it physically pick up the rock and throw it at you guys?
It didn't pick up the rock. It just sort of balked with its body, and when it stepped forward to adjust its weight and dodge my axe, which I wasn't throwing,
Yeah,
I was just made a sudden I just made a sudden
movement.
gesture towards this creature. It stepped forward, and it was the action of its foot, its foot kicking forwards
Oh,
against
okay,
the gravel that knocked that stone loose.
okay.
Um,
Did So when that happened and you guys did you pick up the rock later?
yeah, later the next day, it was still sitting there. It was still sitting there, like that. You know how when if you're in a car crash or something terrible is about to happen and time just slows down.
Mhm.
That's what happened for me, and I just watched this cube of stone tumble towards us, and in the background, this thing is just, it's like just rolling and moving and adjusting itself. And I think I didn't check to see where it went or if it left at all. I just turned my back and ran inside. So I don't know if it tried to run away from us or if it was just trying to dodge an axe that wasn't being thrown. I don't know what its deal was, but it was freaking terrifying. Like all these huge shoulders, this huge big athletic creature, like suddenly starting like that. We just, even though there was 6 of us, we all just got up and ran away. So I never stopped to ask the guy. No, the other guy did see them eventually. He was able to see them when we were inside. And we were pointed out to him. He actually finally got there in the end. There was one guy who just couldn't seem to see it, but we did finally get him to see it in the end.
Did you guys, or did you or any of your friends, did you guys pick up that stone?
Yeah, the next day. Yeah, we picked it up.
What'd you do with it?
We poked it back into the hole. So it had kicked it up out of the gravel road, and we took it over and pieced it back in to the spot where we saw this thing standing, where it had been standing for about 5 or 10 minutes, and we placed it back in the hole, and it fit perfectly in the hole.
I would have kept that rock.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know why we didn't. Now that I think about it, that would have been kind of a cool memento. It was a cool rock too. It's like a cubed piece of quartz.
That's so. When you went back the next day and you investigated the whole area and you were looking to see, where the rock came from, where it was pinching standing, and you saw those prints, and you said it kind of looked like it walked away. You saw multiple prints. But so how far between each step was it? Would you guesstimate?
Well, that was the problem, because there was just one really soft sandy patch, and then there was road, like gravel road, really coarse gravel road, which you couldn't leave a print in with a car tire. It was very hard and compacted down. But this soft sandy stuff, it just had, I don't think it was even 2 feet. I think it was just 1 foot fell in that area. So all I got an opportunity to see was the heel, like a complete print. There was a complete print from toe to heel, but only one. And then as it adjusted its position, maybe there was one more heel, but the footprint evidence would sort of suggest it was mostly standing. I don't think it even made the print while we were looking. I think it put that foot there to get in in its position under the light, and stand on the harder ground where its toe eventually hit that compacted stone.
So how long would you say the print was? I mean, I know you said you wore like a size 11 shoe or something like that.
11 and a half. I can get a measuring tape and get an idea.
Sure.
It was like the size of my it was the size of my foot, and then half of that again. So I'm not. We don't do feet in inches here.
Yeah.
In Australia, I think I have a tape that has both. Maybe we can just do the calculations.
Sure.
So my foot. So it's like 310 millimeters, which is my foot. So it would be another 150 on top of that, which would make it 450 millimeters. That looks about right. 450 millimeters. Very, very long foot.
Let me figure that out here. Hold on. What is 450 millimeters in inches? That's a 17-inch. That's almost an 18-inch track. That was a big boy.
Yeah. Like from
that was
heel
huge.
To toe. Yeah.
That was huge because, and some people say that, when they do a calculation, there's a couple people I know that they're pretty spot on when it comes to the calculations. Depending on the size of the print how deep down the print goes, how deep the print is, they can average. So usually like an 18-inch, this is literally almost an 18-inch print. That thing could easily be roughly 8.5 feet tall and possibly weighing close to like 800 or 900 pounds.
Wow.
And that's just a guesstimate on what a Sasquatch is. Now, um, again, people believe that Sasquatch have the ability to cloak, and that's not out of the ordinary. That even what you're seeing, it could be a yowie. We just really don't know.
They do say in indigenous Australians do have lots of lore about the yowie, but I think
Mhm.
their footprints are they're a bit they're some. I think some of the legend is about them having their feet on backwards, but I don't think
Really?
I don't think they really have backwards feet. I
Mhm.
think what they're just really cunning and good at covering their tracks. So
Mhm.
they will walk backwards on their tracks because
Mhm.
the indigenous people of Australia they lived they lived a really Paleolithic lifestyle. They lived with hunting and gathering. They
Yeah.
did some agricultural practices, but that was predominantly how they
Yeah.
survived. So those guys were they were all about tracking, and the
Yeah.
Yowies are probably switched on about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an amazing what it's coming up to is 17.717 inches. That's almost 18
Mm.
inches. That's huge. Um,
Yeah.
they say
It really reminded me quite a lot of a wallaby or a kangaroo's foot. It was
really?
like there was like three distinct toe pads,
Mhm.
and it was long and narrow, long and narrow, like a reptile's foot, almost
And
the
they
way
have
a
things
reptile.
like that here in North America as well, with those type, like the, the, Legend of Boggy Creek, the Fouch monster, is
Right.
believed is said to have three-toed tracks. There's a buddy of mine, who does a lot of investigation. His name's Harley Owens. He's showing me some tracks that are three-toed tracks. Um, he's some of the stuff he's showing me is absolutely amazing. But you said that the one who couldn't see it outside, you guys eventually saw he could see it from inside. So when he was inside the house, he could see it moving around outside.
Yeah, he could see it moving outside the house. Yeah, it just didn't. I didn't seem to be able to. I just couldn't seem to point it out to him.
Yeah,
Inside, like when we were outside, he just didn't seem to. It was like he didn't have the ability to see it. But once we got inside, he finally could see. He could finally see. I don't know if the lighting conditions were better. Or what the deal was, but he could see it quite clearly then. He made it out. He goes, "Oh my," yeah, he would say, "Oh my God, it's running along the fence." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is running along the fence. Okay, you
yeah.
can see it now." Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Daniel, that is so amazing, man. So here's some more questions. I got like two more questions.
Yeah.
So you'd s- let me ask you. So before your sighting and then after your sighting. So before your sighting, had heard any reports of like missing livestock in the area or missing pets in the area?
No, no, um, but the guy, a guy who lived a few like one house along, um, we told him about it eventually, and he goes, "Yeah, well, that tracks," because he'd lived here, he'd lived in that place his entire life, um, like since he was a little kid, and he'd gone there with his he'd moved there with his father, and it was their happy place. They went there as they had a shack there, and they went there his whole life. And he was like, "Well, that doesn't surprise me in the least that you saw." Um, I saw this creature. It was probably an alien. I've seen UFOs down here, and I was like, "What?" Because
Yeah.
I'd never seen UFO in my life. But yeah, there was some weird things going on down there. It's a funny place. It's just a really eerie place.
So
Lots of spooky stuff happened there.
So what about after your encounter and years after that? Has anybody come across like, oh, well, that's an odd looking, deceased animal? Like, how did that happen to that animal? Or, just something out of the ordinary? Because, here, we're driving down the highway, we see deer that had been hit by cars, raccoons that had been hit, possum, some other wildlife that's in the area that you don't normally see. Did you guys ever come across something like that? But you're like, wait a minute, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like maybe this thing was hunting
No,
and okay. Because my guess is
no,
I'm just kind of
because this.
curious. I'm curious to see, why were they in the area? Were they there just observing, or were they feeding on things that lived in the area?
But they had to be eating something if they're a biological entity. But like I never really knew. So I spent one summer holiday there, like a few months, and then
Mhm,
and half of that we moved into town all together, all of us kids, all at
mm,
once. We moved into a place, so we could go to college because the college was like 60 k's away, and we didn't
mhm,
want to bus there every day. So yeah, the time it took us to move into that house, I don't know, it would have been a few months. So as for being able to witness like weird feeding patterns or bizarre kills, um, one thing that was weird was one thing that was weird was we did see like more than a than you would expect albino wallabies. Like the Bennett's
mm,
wallaby is it's a grey animal,
mhm.
but we saw quite a lot of white ones um, around the area, and I think it's hereditary. So they can, if there's one white one, they can make more white ones. But I thought that was kind of weird as well, the concentration of albino wallabies there. Um,
Mhm.
but that was about the same time. It was just it was really, yeah. But like the other times I've seen them, they really are just so walking along the side of the road. Um, yeah, the car headlights pick them up really well because the car headlights moving. So when the
Mhm.
when the when the light pans past them and they're really bright, it throws sheen across the camouflage,
Yep.
um, and so that
And
makes them really
it
visible.
it can't adjust. It can't adjust quick enough.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
so so
and
th so yeah, then it throws their outline out, and then you're like, "Man, that's crazy. That's
mm,
crazy." So you've seen these things since then,
yeah.
for a while. Yeah, that's what makes you think that it's in the area? Like, what is in the ground around where that is?
I have no idea, but that Badger Head is the name of the place,
Mhm,
um, and it's a weird place. It feels weird. It's just the whole place is weird. I actually went camping there. This year, um, and I hadn't been there for the longest time because of that creepy story. I went
mhm,
camping. I went camp on the beach, ages away from where where this sighting happened. Um,
mhm.
didn't get a wink of sleep all night. It was yeah, yeah, just didn't get a wink of sleep all night. Um, because that all those memories came flooding back. It was still nice
Yeah,
to go camping. Still a lovely spot, very wild and untouched. But there's a lot more houses there now.
yeah.
I'd say there was about 20 houses there now.
Mm.
Mm.
So I wanna know, so have you heard a lot of the sounds that people have recorded here in the United States? Have you had a
Like,
chance to hear, like, some of, like, maybe the Bigfoot howls
I
or
have heard those. Yeah, I've heard the
yeah?
Bigfoot. Those are amazing. Yeah,
'Cause, have you heard of Ron Moorhead?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Ron Moorhead, I consider a friend of mine. He's been on my show a few times, and I've worked with him behind the camera, so to speak, helping him with this podcast, him and Daryl Denton. And Ron had sent me some audio, and I'd like to play it for you because I don't think it's, you guys get a chance to really hear unless you're surfing the net all the time, but I'd never heard this part of the Sierra sounds that Ron Moorhead had sent me, and I found it absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
let's see if I can find it here. Let's see here. Okay, 1 second. He's got it. Let's see here. Where is it? Is this it? I think this is it. Yep. So let me know what you think about this.
Okay.
What'd you think of that?
That's really eerie.
So
Yeah. So
the
what's
back.
that report to be?
Okay, so what that is Ron had recorded that, and what it is, it's a male and female Sasquatch in an argument,
Oh wow.
and he had seen the male move down a slope, down a rocky slope, and then down over a little like lip, and then down into like a river area up in the Sierra Nevada mountains here in the United
Wow.
States. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. And then I have other pictures and things like that that people have sent me, and like I'll share a couple of those with you if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
So here's one of what is believed to be a dogman handprint.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
And you
Yeah.
notice
See
there's six digits.
and see the little depressions on
Yep.
the end where the claws touch
Yep.
off on the soft material. That was exactly what the three-toed print looked like. There's except it came to more of a point and
Yeah.
was further away from the last toe pad.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
sent to me by Lee Hampel, who lives in or who has a farm out in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And my daughter and I and a couple other of my friends were going to be heading out there next weekend to visit that farm and to walk along Bray Road, because it's believed to be that's a handprint potentially from one of the beasts of Bray Road, which
So
is
it's got 6 digits.
that's what's weird about it. Because here's
Did you
even
say
another one. 6. Yeah, I mean, if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
It
incredible.
does have 6 digits. And when people describe them, they say their hands look like they look like a raccoon's hand.
Yep.
It looks like a raccoon.
Absolutely.
I wonder if that's if there's too many fingers. Like it just they'll yeah. Because that's
then
what raccoons hands look like, with all of the little gaps in between
oh yeah.
the fingers.
Yeah,
'Cause the fingers are
raccoons have creepy hands, if you ask me. They're creepy.
they really do, yeah. I spent a
Um,
lot of time watching videos of raccoons touching cats with those creepy little hands, and cats don't like it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Now, this was also sent to me by a listener who wasn't on the show, just sent me an email. And this has gone around quite a bit on the internet. This picture has.
Yeah, that's one of the more compelling ones. You
Mhm.
can really make out like the canid shape in that brow. You can really make out the canid shape in the muzzle. And
Oh, for sure.
The position of the ears is just too. Yeah, that picture puts makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, because you can tell quite clearly that is a predator looking right at you.
I'm going to real quick email myself a picture that I'm going to load on here so I can show it to you.
Yeah.
And this is one of the pictures that my buddy Harley had sent me, and it is absolutely, in my opinion, one of the absolute best pictures of a dog man that I've ever seen. So give me a second here to download this here. Let's do this and do this. Okay.
Do you get many reports about dogmen from Australia?
None.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've never heard one.
One of the it just actually last night I got an email from an individual from Ireland that had a encounter with a dog man.
Yeah,
So now
it
here's
tends to be the places have got the history of it too. I wonder what Greece is like, because the Greeks have got this cynocephaly.
right.
Yeah.
So here's this
Whether
picture.
yeah.
Here's this picture that Harley sent me, and the circle is just kind of like a blown up picture of the area where this thing is spotted.
Oh right, that's clearly fur, and I can make ears out in the top,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't make out. I think I can see some eyes, but I
Yep.
can't make out the face.
And if you look, if you're looking, we're looking at its left eye. We can see its left eye.
Yeah,
If you look kind of like down into the left, there's the top of its snout and its nose.
yeah.
Yeah. So how he got this picture was he was out with his stepdaughter's dad or his father-in-law or brother-in-law, and they were out just walking around.
Yeah,
And
in the middle of the day, and it's just
yeah,
there doing that.
and they
Wow.
heard some noises, and he spun around and he just took like 3 random pictures because he didn't see anything. Now where it's at in that picture, it's standing in like a 6-foot deep like creek. So if you walked over to those laurels and walked through those laurel bushes, there's a creek back there and it's standing in that 6-foot deep creek.
Oh, so it's yeah, it's standing. It's actually standing up, because
Standing
that
up,
was
yeah.
quite low. It looked
Yeah.
quite low to the ground, but that was an illusion. Oh wow!
Yeah,
So
so
it was pretty tall. Like it would have been very tall. That creature
yeah.
would have been very tall.
Yeah. So, and again, this has nothing to do with the Glimmer Man, but it's again
Mm.
when I get somebody from overseas, and like I said, you're the first one on the Cryptid Podcast that I've interviewed. Now, the
Oh
other one
wow!
I interviewed was in Germany, and she had a UFO encounter, but that was on for a different podcast that I used to have that I got rid of. But I just want to share this with you because you've got your things going on over there in Tasmania and Australia and New Zealand and things like that. And we got stuff over here, and I have almost nothing. Actually, I have nothing from that area over there.
Yeah, well, I did see one of those triangle UFOs not long ago as well. I didn't know
Really?
that they even had triangular ones, until I saw one myself.
Where,
It was
where
like
did you where'd you see
it
it?
was
Let's hear it.
it was it was over it was over it was over in Beauty Point, which is about 20 kilometers away from Badger Head. I go outside to have a cigarette, and I look out to the right, and there's this triangular UFO. I actually have no idea how big it was. I can't really tell, because it was sort of off on an angle sort of thing. But I could still make out that it was probably an equilateral triangle, and it had a red light in the middle and green lights on all the points. And then I go on YouTube, go triangular UFOs. That's not a thing. I get online, and there's heaps of pictures of them. They all look exactly the same as what I saw. And I was like, what? But the acceleration on it was ridiculous. Like, I spotted it and went, what the hell? And then it just shot off over the horizon over towards Georgetown. Shot off, and I immediately posted it on Facebook. I said, perhaps if you want to be, if you're driving a UFO and you want to be a bit stealthy, maybe don't put the red and green lights on. because then I would I wouldn't even have seen it. And
Yeah.
then the this girl from Georgetown says, I see those damn things over here all the time. And I'm like, what the hell are they? They are so fast. Like
Mhm.
I if I was holding a torch and I was fast enough to shoot the beam on it, and then I moved it as fast as I could, like it was like that. It's just like there 1 minute and then a blinding flash and then gone, just gone and shot. But I could still, it was going slow enough that I could make out its trajectory and where it went, but only just. It was pretty
Yeah.
quick. That was nuts. I couldn't believe it. This only happened a couple of years ago. This is 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bonkers.
That's awesome. I'm getting Glimmerman and UFO on this one. That's cool. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. So I mean, of course you've had your encounter with Glimmerman. Again, very well. I've heard people, because like I said, once you said Glimmerman, you and I've been talking for what, about a week and a half now,
Yeah.
back and forth. And so I've been doing some deep diving, and there's so many theories about what the Glimmerman is.
Oh,
It could be
I have no
part of.
idea.
Oh no, I hear things like military tech. It could be some kind of military tech. It could be an alien. It could be Bigfoot or other some type of some other type of cryptid. And again, I don't know. I've never seen one. I think I would like to see one, but there's
Yeah.
other well documented stories out there. Like there's a lady who was up in her deer stand hunting,
Yep.
and one of these things jumped out of the tree, and she watched it run off through the woods. And at the same time, there was like a UFO sighting. Like
Oh,
literally
far
at the
out.
same time. So yeah, it was really, the UFO, I believe, was seen by a bunch of high school kids at a high school that were out on the football field for band practice. So yeah, it was crazy. And if I can find that, I'll send it to you, because it is an
Uh,
incredible story. I'll send that story to you.
Yeah, that would be really great. Yeah, I would like. Yeah, it would. I've always wanted to know what's going on. Like, I thought I I was more comfortable with the idea of it being military tech. I think, but the those the toes, those footprints and those
Mhm.
clawed toes made it seem really creepy.
Yeah.
I couldn't make out any extremities to see if its hands were also clawed. I could just make out the fact that it had hands, it had and a body, and I couldn't make out that it had toes from the camouflage either. It was just this shimmering form that could have been anything, like really, except roughly humanoid. Which if it's an alien, it's so humanoid. I just thought that was really weird that it was so humanoid in
Well, let
its
me ask you
shape.
this. So how tall do you think this thing was? Just a guesstimate, because I remember this was years ago. This is like 30 something years ago,
Well,
you know?
they're in Tasmania, at
Mhm.
least. I'm not sure if they do this all over Australia. We have these. We would take a piece of color bond sheet metal and we'll wrap it around the poles that streetlights
Mhm.
have on them, and we'll do that in rural areas. So they all have them. They all have this collar on them. So that sort of functions like like the scale they have in petrol stations, in gas stations, to tell
Mhm.
you how tall the person was who
Mhm.
walked past that thing. So you could guess how big they were just because they were close to it. And on this particular street light, the top of the color bond was about here,
Mhm.
on me, and I'm exactly 6 feet tall, and he was like, his head was like up here, like well taller than me,
So
at least a full foot taller than me, at
yeah,
least,
okay.
and he would have definitely been heavier than me as well, a lot heavier. It wasn't lanky. That guy was stacked. He was,
You said he was stout, he's broad. So,
yeah,
yeah. So, hey, let's I would love for you to stay in the lobby just for a few minutes after, because we're gonna go ahead and end the show now. Uh,
yeah, sure.
I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it was speaking with you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for reaching out to me. And I don't remember, did we connect on Reddit?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a Dogman page on there, and you
Yeah.
reached out and said, if anyone's got stories, let me know. I said I don't have a Dogman story, but I've got a Glimmerman story. It was only a couple of years ago that I actually learned that the Glimmerman existed. It took that long for podcasts and YouTube channels to actually show me what it was.
Yeah. You know, Reddit is such a weird place to go to, because I am permanently banned on like 2 subreddits. Just because
really?
I asked a question, "Hey, has anybody seen anything?" I got permanently banned from the subreddit military, and then another subreddit for like cryptids or something like that. And then I got permanently banned from asking questions of the moderators, because I asked, "Hey, what rules did I break? If I'd have known I was going to break rules, I would have never posted this." And then as soon as I sent that message asking a question, I got permanently banned from asking questions to the
Wow.
moderators. Yeah, they're so finicky. But hey, if you just can't hang out in the lobby, I got a couple things I like to tell you, share with you, and
Yeah, sure.
so we'll be right back. So stand by.
No worries. See you soon.
Thank you so much for coming on, guys.
No worries.
You guys, that was Daniel from Tasmania. I'm telling you, this guy is awesome, and I think that we'll be in touch for quite a while, talking stories and swapping stuff like that. So, you guys, as usual, I'm always going to say thank you for all the support you show the channel. If you guys would like to be a member of the Cryptid Podcast, I have a giveaway going around right now. It's for a hat just like this. It ends on the 25th of July. All it is $2.99. You become a member. You get your name in a drawing for this hat and a couple of little things that I have, and a Saturday early access to a Saturday release. And again, subscribe if you like what you're seeing or hearing. Don't forget to like, hit thumbs up, hit those notifications. I drop new content every Wednesday, every Friday, every Saturday. I do a Saturday live stream once a month. You'll get a 2 for Friday, which is 2 episodes drop on a Friday. And then once a month, you'll get that Saturday release. If you've had an encounter you'd like to come on the show, please shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Again, thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. And you guys, I can't get off here without saying what my buddy Josh always says from Mysteries Unknown. Guys, stay prayed up. And as I always like to say, remember, a legend begins with a sighting. You guys have an amazing night, and thank you so much for all your support. See you later, guys.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?